I'm Ashley Banfield. Ahead in the next hour on Fox 4 News at 9. The dragnet worked. Cops say they caught the man suspected of kidnapping, beating, and stabbing a North Texas woman while he was trying to escape to Mexico. From the break-in to the roundup to the getaway, North Texas dog nappers caught on tape going after expensive loot. More than 1,000 North Dallas homeowners fighting to keep the city from putting low-income housing in their neighborhoods win their long battle. The search for more bodies continues in last night's Amtrak disaster. Pursuing a sniper or defending the presidential motorcade from rocket-propelled grenades. We've got an inside look at Secret Service training. And the new downtown Dallas arena may only be a pile of dirt, but at least now we know what they're going to name it.
Broadcasting live for Dallas and Fort Worth, this is the news station, Fox 4 News at 9.
When she was located in the trunk of the vehicle, she'd been severely beaten and stabbed.
It was a night of torture for a North Texas woman. Good evening, everybody. Police say 46-year-old Yvonne Camisa was kidnapped from her Allen home and brutalized.
She is in the hospital tonight in critical condition, and the man police say is responsible is in jail. They say they caught him trying to leave the country. Fox 4's Baron James joins us live now with more. Baron.
Ashley, Stephen Andrew Dossett Jr. didn't get any farther than Houston's Intercontinental Airport before U.S. Customs agents tracked him down and stopped him in his tracks. One woman who lives here in Rowlett may have helped police track him down. A woman who says that she's too frightened to go on camera. A woman says that she fears for her safety, that she used to date Dossett, that she also has a restraining order against him because she, too, says that she was also abused. Police still have a lot of unanswered questions.
As far as how he got to Houston, we will be working on that. And then once he got to Houston, you know, did he purchase his ticket there? Or where did he purchase it here? We don't have that information yet.
Allen investigators put Customs on the lookout for Stephen Dossett because they believed he was heading for the border, Mexico bound. The son of the Richardson fire marshal is accused of kidnapping his girlfriend's mother, 46-year-old Yvonne Camisa, from her Allen home. Richardson police, acting on a tip from Allen investigators, found Camisa's BMW at an Arapahoe Road shopping center. They broke out the window to unlatch the trunk, where they found Camisa severely beaten and stabbed. Her Allen neighbors say the crime has rattled their sense of security.
I have two teenagers, and they date, and I have that feeling as a parent of trying to protect them and make a secure environment for them. You bet it rattles me.
Now, Stephen Andrew Dossett Jr. is charged with aggravated kidnapping. In another case, one about 3 years ago, he was also charged with false imprisonment. And police tell me that now more charges are perhaps on the way. Live in Rowlett, Fox 4 News, Baron James.
All right, Baron, thank you. Well, this is already built and families have been living inside for 10 months, but tonight, a big victory for people who fought to keep a housing project out of their neighborhood. That victory will also affect other low-income housing headed for North Dallas in McCallum and Meandering Way, and that is where Sean Rabb is live tonight with the story. Sean?
Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals in their ruling today, Steve, it's a landmark ruling that will really have a precedent across the country. Now, the court acknowledged that previous years held discrimination against blacks and low-income families in public housing, even to the point of saying there had been no new housing built in Dallas for 45 years for fear that low-income housing would be built in white neighborhoods. Still, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals in New Orleans ruled today, and it all came down this afternoon, that using race as a basis to correct previous wrongs is unconstitutional.
I think it sets a frightening precedent for across the country, and I think it's a terrible setback for low-income families in Dallas in particular. Housing Authority officials had hoped to build 40 units on two separate tracts of land in far north Dallas, McCallum at Meandering Way and Hillcrest at 190. Because federal judge Jerry Buckmeyer ruled the remedy for past housing discrimination should be new public housing in predominantly white neighborhoods. The Fifth Circuit said no, writing, because there are promising non-racially discriminatory ways to continue desegregating public housing in Dallas, the construction of units of public housing in predominantly white areas is unconstitutional.
When a court uses a race-based remedy like that, that is a decree that has race right in it, it's subject to very strict examination under the Constitution. And that sort of decree shouldn't be used, the court said, except as a last resort.
Mike Daniels represents the plaintiffs, Walker et al., who brought the lawsuit in 1985.
For decades, public housing was placed in black neighborhoods solely because the neighborhoods were black and as to keep black people out of white neighborhoods. Now, to take apart a system like that, you have to use race. And that means you have to pick neighborhoods that are not black. And unless you're going to go into Hispanic neighborhoods, that means you got to go into white neighborhoods.
To continue to change the face of public housing, the court suggested the voucher system be given a chance to work.
We're not trying to keep people out of our neighborhood, not trying to keep people out of any part of Dallas. In fact, we want them to have their choice of where to live, and that's what Section 8 offers.
As of now, I mean, we're having a problem with our families finding housing with the Section 8 vouchers. It's strictly a voluntary program for private owners. They do not have to participate, and that's what we're finding. We are having our residents are more frequently having problems trying to find housing.
Now, Mike Daniels tells me he will appeal the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals ruling to the Supreme Court, and he'll file his motions, his briefs within the next 90 days. For now, no more new construction of public housing in far North Dallas. In far North Dallas tonight, that's the story. Sean Rabb, Fox 4 News.
Sean, thank you. Child's play and a space heater are apparently what sparked a deadly fire in Fort Worth. 21-year-old Sabrina Castillo died in that fire. 8 other children and teenagers in the Southwest Fort Worth home got out okay. Fire investigators say the children may have been playing with the space heater, possibly sticking paper into the vents.
Exactly how that all pieces together, unfortunately, we may never know because of the ages of the children and their ability to relate to us. But the investigators are comfortable enough right now to believe that those 3 things all intertwined here for this tragedy.
Investigators say there was no working smoke detector inside that house.
Now it looks like the driver of a big rig cut around flashing barricades just before a passenger train slammed into his truck. The accident happened late last night in Bourbonnais, Illinois, about 50 miles south of Chicago. At least 14 passengers died in the accident, and Brett Baer has the very latest tonight from Illinois.
Here on the scene, there has been non-stop activity as crews continue to dig into the tangled mass of metal, fearing they may find more dead. Authorities say as many as 4 people are still missing. The death toll has been fluctuating today. The local coroner says that is because many of the bodies he has are in pieces. An official death toll probably won't come until late tomorrow. Meanwhile, the National Transportation Safety Board is on the scene looking for answers.
We are continuing the search effort in the remaining cars to see if there are any more victims or even possibly survivors.
But hope of finding anyone alive underneath the mangled wreck is fading. One by one, the train cars are being yanked apart. So far, all of the dead have been found in the first sleeping car. As the death toll rises, survivors are coming to grips with the crash.
It's just like a bad dream. I was thinking it was the end of my life. I thought I was fixing to die.
10 NTSB crews are now working to try to piece together what exactly happened when the City of New Orleans train barreled into a semi-truck Monday night. Both the truck driver and the train engineer survived the crash and are being questioned. But late Tuesday afternoon, the NTSB investigators explained that there was a second collision. After the train hit the truck, it careened into a pair of train cars sitting on another track.
One full with steel, the other one full with some residue from the furnaces of the steel mill. Were parked on an adjacent track to this.
NTSB officials say that second collision could have made this crash far worse. Meanwhile, the driving record of the semi-truck driver has come under some question. He was driving under a suspended license, a probationary permit, at the time of the crash. In Bourbonnais, Illinois, Brett Baer, Fox 4 News.
And police say the driver of a tanker involved in a fiery and deadly collision north of Houston could face charges. The driver was hauling diesel on I-45 when investigators say he lost control of his rig and rolled over several vehicles. The trucker got out just seconds before his rig exploded. 2 people died at the scene. A 3rd victim died at a hospital. North and southbound I-45 in that area was shut down for most of the day.
Well, Dow 10,000 has been talked a lot about recently. Today, it finally happened. Crossing the 10,000-point milestone came just about 20 minutes into the day's trading, but even with all that cheering you heard and the excitement on the floor, the Dow did not stay in the 10,000 territory for very long. The Dow ended up slipping 28 points from yesterday's finish. It closed at 99.30. We will have the closing numbers for the NASDAQ S&P 500 too later in this newscast.
Central Texas overhead, a mostly cloudy sky right now, some high clouds out there. Temperatures are mild. There's a light breeze in the atmosphere. Check the conditions around the region tonight. The cloud cover is here and keeping our temperatures on the mild side tonight. And under that blanket of cloudiness, I don't think we're going to fall very far tonight. But out to the west, another storm system coming this way could bring us a chance of rain, it looks like, by the end of the week. Here are the numbers tonight: 63 in Denton, 64 in Dallas. Right now it is 63 degrees in Fort Worth. Your 5-day planner is on the way.
Coming up, Congressman Dick Armey now has one very painful thing in common with his Democratic counterpart, Martin Frost.
I'm medical reporter John Hammerly. It'll be 18 minutes before my story airs. In that time, 23 people will die of heart attacks. A third of them will be Hispanics. I'll tell you why in a minute.
The Stars raining on their own victory parade planned tonight. And Eric?
Live tonight in Lake Worth, Steve, an emotional issue. Find out how the deaths of 3 firefighters here could reshape policy at fire stations across the country. That story straight ahead.
I'm Clarice Tinsley, coming up only at 10 on Fox 4 News. Making funeral arrangements can add to the pain and grief of losing a loved one. But who do you turn to when you think you're being taken advantage of by the funeral company? She said she was attacked inside a Dallas apartment complex by 2 Saudi Arabian officers training with the Dallas Police Department. What do investigators think about the case? Find out tonight at 10.
She called 911, gasping for air. Paramedics came to the door but didn't come inside. 911 gone wrong. Next extra.
Tonight at 10:30 on Fox 4.
When was the last time you visited Beverly Hills?
Have you ever cheated on me?
No. An all-new 90210. Then, a custody battle divides a family. The verdict is in.
I can only tell you who wins, so here it is.
Party of 5.
Wednesday, starting at 7 on Fox 4.
It's the Jeep Spring event, and great deals on your favorite Jeep.
You're watching Fox 4 News, the news station, with Steve Eager, Ashley Banfield, Tim Heller, and Mike Ducey.
1 month ago, 3 firefighters paid for their bravery with their lives while battling that church fire. But how should their families be paid for their loss? That's a difficult question in Fort Worth, where 2 of the firefighters worked full-time.
That's because they were volunteering for their hometown departments when they died. Tonight, Fox 4's Eric Glasser joins us live from the burned-out church in Lake Worth. And Eric, I imagine a lot of fire departments right now watching how this benefits issue will be handled.
Indeed, Steve. Fort Worth's Retirement Board set to meet in 6 days to make the decision about what sort of benefits 2 of their fallen firefighters will receive. And yes, the eyes of fire stations across the country are on this case because the ramifications of what's decided here could have widespread implications. When the smoke has cleared and the tears have dried, someone has to make the thankless, seemingly heartless decision of who gets how much and who will have to pay for it. The families of all 3 firefighters killed in the February 15th blaze will each receive about $200,000 in state and federal benefits. But as Fort Worth firefighters Brian Collins and Philip Dean are also due pensions. There's political and emotional pressure on the city's retirement board to give both men's families full retirement benefits, as if they'd been killed on the job. But in fact, they were voluntarily fighting the blaze in another city on their own time. And that is the dilemma, whether a firefighter is on duty 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or not.
It's sort of like if you work for my company, you go to work for another company, I think you're on that company's ticket, not mine. And I think that applies with regard to the city.
Fort Worth's position may be politically unpopular, but Mayor Kenneth Barr says he must be responsible to the city's taxpayers. Setting such a precedent, he says, could be financially devastating.
I suspect we will come down to some position of limiting our firefighters working outside of the city of Fort Worth as volunteer firefighters if other communities don't come forward and enter into agreements with the city of Fort Worth over this.
Mayor Barr says it's only fair the cities of River Oaks and Lake Worth pay the difference between the undisputed pension due the firefighters' families and what would be their full retirement benefit, a difference of about $450,000. But most small towns say that's why they have voluntary fire departments, because they can't afford that kind of money.
I don't know where we would get it.
Dave Henson is the mayor of neighboring Sansom Park, which lost 20-year-old Gary Sanders in that same blaze. But Sanders wasn't a firefighter by profession, and so the pension is not an issue. Mayor Henson says if there were some sort of insurance that could make up the difference in benefits for professional firefighters killed while volunteering for another town, he'd consider buying it.
I would assume that if there's not, there'll be somebody come up with something as a result of these kinds of decisions.
Henson fears the case could also have a chilling effect on professional firefighters bringing their expertise to volunteer departments, especially if they have to now worry about their families' futures. For some, however, that's not the issue.
Somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to do it.
We do it because in any community it has to be done. There's always going to be fire. There have been fires since the beginning of time, and there's always going to be a fire, or there's always going to be somebody who needs help, and there are communities that can't afford to pay people, so somebody in the community has to step up and do it.
The city of River Oaks says it may look into a similar sort of perhaps insurance option, but at this point, in addition to the state and federal funding, the only thing that they can offer the firefighters killed here would be $75 a week in workman's compensation. Also, firefighter union members from this area say that while the state legislature is in session, they may try to push for clarification, even a law that would state whether or not, in fact, they are on the clock 24/7. Live in Lake Worth tonight, Eric Glasser, Fox 4 News.
All right, Eric, tough question. We'll see where it goes. Thanks. It'll take another 2.5 years of construction to make the new Dallas Sports Arena a reality, but one of the arena's biggest moneymakers is already taking shape tonight. Its name. Take a look from Sky 4 on the power cam at what will be the American Airlines Center. A tent is going up on the side along Stemmons Freeway for Thursday's formal name announcement. The Fort Worth-based airline is the first to pay for naming rights at 2 major sports venues. The name's going on the new arena in Miami for $40 million over 20 years.
Well, they say everybody loves a parade, right? Not necessarily if you're the Dallas Stars. Call it superstition, call it fighting off a jinx, but when Dallas City Hall started making early plans for a Stanley Cup celebration, the Stars said, hey, hold on to your helmets. Here's Fox 4's Bud Gillette.
Recchi, and here we go. Lindros and Hatcher.
The Dallas Stars are marked men in 2 countries. On their way to a second President's Cup trophy for the best regular season record in hockey, they find every opponent gets up for them. Fan expectations are high, too. But the city of Dallas as well?
They had qualified for the playoffs, so we have to make preparation 45 days in advance.
So is all that preparation really necessary? The answer is yes. Dallasites and football fans in general were aghast at how 1993's Super Bowl victory parade became a rioting, looting blemish on this city's image. The Now You See It, Now You Don't event of '94 wasn't the answer either. By 1996, it was back to all smiles and good times, and the lesson was clear. Preparation is everything.
Lucky shot stopped by Belfour.
In fact, the city was down the celebration planning road last year with the Stars until their untimely third-round exit. Now the pressure is again intense. The Stars were the focus of a recent weekly hockey publication. Call it focus, call it superstition, but no one in the Stars' management wants to talk to Fox 4 about plans for a victory celebration.
They would rather not talk about it right now. They don't want to jinx their opportunity to become the champs.
Bud Gillette, Fox 4 News.
They're the men and women hired to protect the president. Straight ahead on Fox 4 News, see how they trained for their tough task. The woman who sued the president for sexual harassment decides to take a break from her man. The president's wife makes a court appearance on videotape. And videotape catches these thieves taking puppies from a Dallas business. How you can help catch them ahead on Fox 4 News.
On the next Good Day Dallas, what's in the water at Fox 4? We're trying a new water testing kit. And we're dishing up some Irish fare for St. Paddy's Day. We're live and local, 5 to 9.
Utilities in Texas.
You're watching Fox 4 News, the news station.
Research now shows that Hispanics are more likely to die from heart attacks than white people.
The reasons: high blood pressure, diabetes, and obesity. Those factors cause many people to just plain give up. John Hammerly shows us one man who took control after coming back from the dead.
If you don't have a good night, they'll sure slip off, I tell you.
Rupert Garcia knows all too well how slippery fishing and life can be.
My monitor would show that I was dead, but there would be one beep, and that was a heartbeat, and said, as long as there's a heartbeat, there's hope, and they kept shocking me. I was shocked about 300 times. I was a miracle man. I was here by the grace of God, which I firmly believe.
Well, he was being resuscitated, I would say, for over 90 minutes.
Heart surgeon Al Yervati refused to pronounce Rupert dead.
No, we didn't give up. We weren't going to give up, and because we kept seeing a change in rhythm back. We would see a blood pressure for a while, and then things would fade and then come back.
The youngest of 10 kids, Rupert knew heart disease lurked ominously.
Of the family history, we have 7 deaths of heart attacks in my family.
So the fit, 64-year-old former bookbinder always kept moving.
I jogged a lot, swam, played ball.
But he always kept eating. He now sees badly.
Your typical Mexican breakfast, 2 or 3 eggs, bacon, sausage, refried beans, potatoes, tortillas, and hot sauce. Again, behind this clip.
A nagging tightness in his throat sent Rupert in for an angiogram. His near-death experience was followed by 7 days of unconsciousness and a quadruple bypass.
Rupert is a very, very lucky gentleman. Well, Rupert, how are we doing today?
But when it comes to heart disease, most Hispanic men and women aren't so lucky.
Okay, take a deep breath in there. There's been some statistics and some studies done out of Corpus Christi and some studies done in South Texas that show a death rate from heart diseases in Hispanic males at 27%. Staggering.
That's 5 times higher than the murder rate of Hispanic men. And Hispanic women don't fare much better.
They don't go see the doctor. They don't have their blood pressure checked. They're not followed up.
A heart attack sent Rupert reeling towards death. Now he's eating smarter while trying to outsmart those fish.
It'd be nice if I could caught a sandy.
Another recent study shows that Hispanic women wait far longer before going to the hospital after suffering the first signs of a heart attack than do black women or white women in this country. And this study also found that once the Hispanic women get to the hospital, they undergo coronary bypasses far less often. I'm John Hammerly, Fox 4 News.
It's a centuries-old tradition in Mexico, the siesta, taking 2 or 3 hours off work in the afternoon to enjoy either a long lunch or perhaps a nap, and then most workers would stay on the job until about 9 or 10 at night. Well, now the government is giving its 1.5 million workers a wake-up call. Those workers will either have to make a decision on an 8-hour shift with an hour-long lunch or not. Those who don't want to abide by the new rules will be fired and given a severance package.
Well, here's something different. Dog nappers caught on tape. Now you can help police catch them. We'll show you. Also, why this Texas congressman is used to political rumbling, but some bad weather tumbling left him an injured man. We'll explain. And she's taking on the president as Paula Jones taking off from her husband.
The Avis Roving Rapid Return. In under a minute, it downloads, tallies, and prints your receipt. Still,
We love it!
Another breezy day, but another warm day. The afternoon high temperature to actually a couple of degrees higher than normal for this time of the year. 70 degrees, the high temperature today after a cool 44 degrees early this morning. Tomorrow, probably not nearly as warm and probably not nearly as sunny. Details are coming up in your forecast.
This is one of the light rail trains we use to...
You're watching Fox 4 News, the news station.
A message tonight for a group of dog nappers who made off with a litter of Rottweiler puppies. Guess what? Your crime was caught on videotape.
The building where those puppies were kept was kept under surveillance when someone broke in, scooped them up, and made off with live loot. Here's Fox 4's Lene Lewis.
These are the puppies' parents, Rottweilers Ava and Gus. They were there when their puppies were lured away. They can't tell you what happened, but they don't have to. Their caretaker can see it all on tape.
They start, playing with them or something to get their attention to where they would all come out.
This surveillance video shows what happened, a dog napping caught on tape. Watch the top left-hand corner. You can see people walk up along the fence, and there the puppies running to greet them. Then the gate is opened and the puppies are snatched. All along, the parents, Ava and Gus, stood by and watched. Segunda Williams, who took care of the puppies, says she believes the suspects were shining a light in Ava's eyes.
He wasn't moving or couldn't move. I don't know if it was because of the light they were shining or what, but it took her a long time just looking at the picture before she even turned around to come up to the front where they were taking the puppies out.
What Williams can't figure out is why Gus, seen here in the lower right-hand corner, was just sitting by while all the commotion was going on.
We take him to training every week.
Part of their job was to protect the business.
That's their only job. That's like my job, that's their job.
Williams says Norris Services has been broken into at least 10 times since June of last year. The property now has warning signs that surveillance cameras are in place. Gus and Ava were brought on to scare away intruders, clearly hard at work while we were there. It's just what happened early Monday morning that has Williams baffled.
And then the little puppies all run out underneath this fence. And then they caught them and took them away. My babies!
Williams says she was heartbroken when she found out the puppies were missing. Each puppy had its own personal blanket, was fed a special formula, and Williams even kept goat's milk on hand to feed the puppies, as well as the bottles that she put the milk in.
The thieves did have some problems rounding up the puppies. You can see a couple of the thieves chasing after them here. In Oak Cliff, Lene Lewis, Fox 4 News.
Last year, the First Lady told what she knew about Whitewater to a grand jury. Today, that videotaped testimony was played at the trial of her former business partner, Susan McDougal. A crowded Little Rock courtroom watched the tape of Mrs. Clinton saying she spent hardly any time looking over the Whitewater records. First Lady also testified she knew nothing about a loan made in her husband's name back in 1982, nor did she know anything about a check McDougal signed the following year used to pay off part of that loan. McDougal is on trial for contempt of court for refusing to answer prosecutors' questions about Whitewater. More man problems for Paula Jones. She and her husband, Steve, have separated. Jones got the media spotlight when she accused President Clinton of sexual harassment. Remember, she settled out of court for $850,000. Jones and her husband are reportedly feuding over how to spend their part of the settlement, about $200,000. But Jones claims they're splitting up because of different career ambitions, and she says she doubts that breakup will lead to a divorce. It is not a movie about James Bond. It's job training for the men and women who guard the president. We'll take you there.
And just how amazing is the Dow's journey into 5-digit territory? We'll see just ahead.
Only at 10, spring break, teenagers, and booze. A community that promised zero tolerance. Tonight battles underage drinking. At least 2 parties have been busted. What happens next? Are Cedar Hill police any closer to solving the mysterious death of this baby boy?
This just in, the accomplished author.
Jimmy James, macho business donkey wrestler.
The unemployed reporter.
Matthew, honey, you can't be fired twice.
Heard that one before. The truth is out there on the next News Radio.
Tonight at 11 on Fox 4.
When was the last time you visited Beverly Hills?
Have you ever cheated on me?
No. 90210.
Wednesday, starting at 7 on Fox 4.
Hey, Steve, grab the pliers for me, would you? You got it.
Trucks in Texas.
This is Mike Ducey later on Fox 4 Sports. A Darrell Johnston update. The Moose's agent with his opinion on what DJ will be doing next year, coming up on Fox.
You
You don't tell people you're #1.
Give me the house sirloin.
Have the house sirloin.
Always have house sirloin. They tell you.
I'll have the house sirloin, please. Applebee's house sirloin.
America's #1 sirloin steak.
9 ounces.
Char grill.
Great.
Perfect. Now that's a mouth-watering steak. Oh, yeah, that house sirloin.
Oh, it's so tender and juicy.
Really juicy.
Can't beat that.
And 6 other great steaks.
Don't miss them.
We didn't make it America's #1 sirloin steak.
I'll have the house sirloin.
You did.
Applebee's house sirloin, please.
The #1 reason you belong at Applebee's.
Seems like everyone is getting ready for Toyota's National Spring Sales Event. Right now, you can own the #1 selling car in America for 2 years in a row, the Toyota Camry. And get $1,000 customer cash or low 3.9% APR financing. Get ready for a great deal. Get ready to be amazed. Go visit your North Texas Toyota dealer during Toyota's National Spring Sales Event.
In the Fox Business Line tonight, as we said earlier, the Dow's venture into the 10,000 territory did not last very long. After that early morning surge, the Dow dropped, closing down 28 points to 99.30. The tech-heavy NASDAQ had an up day, gaining almost 8 points. The S&P lost about a point. And if it seems like the Dow has been going like the Energizer Bunny recently, you're really not that far off. It really has been going.
No, in fact, now that we have lurched past that 10,000 magical mark, Fox's Lisa Castleman looks back at the Dow's ups and downs and ups and ups.
Seems like only yesterday we were battling at 4,000 in late 1994, and here we've, gone up way through that to 10,000.
At a fast and furious pace, individual investors, regular Joes, have banked on the bull market, encouraged by Joes like this one, Joe Battipaglia, one of Wall Street's most outspoken bulls.
I think the market has a natural momentum to move higher.
And the pace of the climb has been gaining steam. Certainly since 1966, when President Johnson was in office, the Dow touching the 1,000 mark for the first time, but then fell back. And it hit the 1,000 mark again in '72, when Nixon was in office. But it wasn't until 1982, when Ronald Reagan was in the White House, that the Dow crossed the 1,000 line, never looking back. Back during the Gulf War in 1991, the Dow Jones Industrial Average rallied to 3,000, and it took almost 4 years to hit 4,000 and then stay there for the closing bell. Then the Dow hit 5,000 within that same year, and 6,000 in less than a year more. Only 4 months to hit 7,000 and 5 months to climb another 1,000 more, and less than a year later, 9,000, and then 11 months to 10K.
If you were a value buyer in the last few years, you were in a very bad place because not a lot of values in the last couple of years, just a lot of momentum in some of the leading stocks.
And the major market dives didn't cool things off either, like October of '97 or August 31st of last summer. In both cases, a quick rebound led by individual investors scooping up bargains. But is momentum nothing more than reckless emotion? What if a stock price shoots through the roof? Joe Battipaglia says you gotta appreciate those high flyers like you'd appreciate art.
Now, what price do you pay for a Rembrandt? What the next guy's willing to pay. And no analyst or strategist can say that a Rembrandt is worth X if the market says it's worth 3X. And in a raging bull market, you will take these stocks to extraordinary multiples.
Lisa Castleman, Fox News.
Investors can now own a piece of a Fort Worth-based internet provider. FlashNet Communications went public today, selling about 3 million shares on the New York Stock Exchange. It opened on the NASDAQ, actually, at 39 and closed at 43 5/8. FlashNet is one of the nation's top 20 internet service providers. And since the company was formed 3 years ago, it has lost almost $31 million. America's only long-haul bus company is being sold to Canadians. Laidlaw Incorporated of Canada is buying Greyhound for $650 million. Greyhound is headquartered in Dallas, and Laidlaw says it'll stay that way. The company also claims the buyout won't affect any employees, at least not anytime soon. Laidlaw says the move will allow it to offer bus service all the way from Mexico to Alaska. A little later in sports, local pitching sensation Kerry Wood gets some bad news.
O.J. Simpson gets a new job.
See how the Secret Service gets its training.
And take a look at that. That's a live picture from our downtown Dallas Tower cam. What can you learn from the weather about that picture? Well, we know it's dark. We know it's... What do you think, Tim? A little breezy out there. We can learn that too. Tim is going to fill in the rest of the holes when we come back.
What's the hottest thing to happen to pizza? The Domino's Heat Wave. It works like a portable oven, delivering a pizza that's really hot and really bubbly. Domino's, delivering 1 million smiles a day. Get 2 medium pizzas with up to 2 toppings and a 2-liter of Coke for just $13.99.
Lotto Texas jackpot start at $4 million.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the $6 million question. What's for dinner tonight? Come with me. How would you like to try a new chicken dinner?
Mmm, that is good.
New chicken helper.
Very creamy.
Creamy Parmesan.
Delicious. Good fresh homemade flavors. My kids would love this.
20 minutes, yum.
Gotta love quick when you're a working woman.
For a delicious chicken dinner that cooks in only 20 minutes, try new Chicken Helper in 5 fabulous flavors.
This will be dinner tonight.
I always knew the Aurora was attractive, but I didn't know it was this attractive. Lease an Aurora for only $3.99 a month. Call toll-free for details. Aurora by Oldsmobile. Start something.
Introducing the Misty Slush. With its icy, mind-blowing flavors, they're the coolest drinks around. Come on to that feeling and meet me at DQ. The temperatures were back up this afternoon, but the winds were back on as well. In fact, gusting out of the south at about 15 to 20 miles an hour. But look at the numbers reported in by your Fox 4 weather trackers. In Granbury, Albert Lawrence reports 70 degrees for his high temperature. Weatherford, 72. Jesse Olson, Walnut Springs, 71. Gun Barrel City, Charles Robinson reports in 72 degrees. Greenville, Heather Kimberlin had 70, 71 from Rodney Nicely up in Whitewright. And in Plano, Jenny Winterberg reports in 70 degrees for the afternoon high. High cloudiness still out there tonight. As a matter of fact, a few more clouds than we had out there this afternoon. 65 degrees of current temperature with winds south-southeast at 16 miles an hour. The blanket of cloudiness and that south wind will keep us mild tonight instead of dropping into the 30s and 40s like the past couple of nights. 50s for an overnight low, about 56 degrees, and then 68 for the high tomorrow. I think it starts off looking rather gloomy with all the low and high level clouds. See peaks of sunshine in the afternoon, but it looks like it'll be the wind that'll help warm us up tomorrow, not the sunshine, which you're not going to see a whole lot of. Meantime, rain, and lots of it falling in what is normally the dry time of the year in Chile. This is the epicenter of the weather phenomena called La Nina. The weather patterns have brought pounding rains to the South American country for the past month. Villages throughout northern Chile are underwater, clogged with mud. At least 2 people have been swept away in the floods. Hundreds have left their homes for higher ground. So far for us, La Nina has meant a warm but dry winter, at least up until the past couple of weeks. Now, all of a sudden, the weather patterns have shifted somewhat. The subtropical jet becoming a little more active, taking weather systems across the southwest U.S. and then bringing them toward Texas, bringing us some rain. But it was much needed rain. We'll take a little bit more, and good thing we have another weather system on the map tonight, producing about 1/4 inch of rainfall in the Phoenix area. Higher elevations out through the southern Rockies, getting a little bit of snow, but mainly a small little area of rain in the southwest. But once this storm gets out here over Texas, at that point it'll tap into the Gulf of Mexico, and this little system that we're seeing on the map now will become much bigger as the area of low pressure deepens, the moisture feeds into it, and we'll see rain here not for just one day, but for a couple of days. It's a big storm, and once it moves into the area, it's going to take it a couple of days to get out. On the weather map tonight, high pressure in the southeast, northerly winds east of that high where the temperatures are cool. On the backside of the high, you got that south wind. The high pressure is strong, and so is the low pressure coming in, and anytime you have those 2 strong weather systems next to one another and getting closer, you have a strong wind between the 2, and for us, that strong wind is out of the south, so the temperatures have come up. The winds will be back again tomorrow as the low pressure deepens, gets a little bit closer. Clouds will be rather thick tomorrow, but I think the rain tomorrow should be out in West Texas, although it starts to move this way Wednesday night and is here by Thursday, perhaps with some thunder. High temperatures, though, back up in the 60s here will keep all that cold air well to your north. Here's what's happening for the next 5 days then. 68 degrees and mostly cloudy sky tomorrow, peaks of sunshine there, down to 52 tomorrow night, and then 60 with the showers beginning late Wednesday into Thursday. Now, Thursday, we could have some thunder. That's on the leading edge of the system. By Friday and Saturday, it moves east of us, but there's enough moisture to wrap it around that we'll still have rain. Temperatures will be cool, at least cooler than today, but still averaging a little bit closer to normal for this time of the year, if not a few degrees below.
Well, how about the rain, though? Are we averaging the rain yet on the levels?
We're getting closer. We're still about an inch and a quarter shy of normal for the year.
You surprised me here. All right, thank you, Tim. You know, they stand shoulder to shoulder with the top world leaders. They're in the inner circle at world events. They're even regulars on TV, yet they still retain the title secret. Tonight, James Rosen takes us on an inside tour of the school that trains the Secret Service.
A rush of dark memories as Secret Service agents run through a mock assassination at their heavily guarded training camp in Beltsville, Maryland. A signal ends the exercise, and this target is thankfully back on his feet. The drills highlight 12 weeks of training required for the nation's 2,200 Secret Service agents who protect our presidents and recently testified against one. And besides guarding VIPs, they also tackle financial crimes like counterfeiting and computer, cell phone, and credit card fraud.
So it's longer and taller than your average Fleetwood.
President Reagan's old limousine got a workout, as did members of congressional oversight committees who learned firsthand how agents make a J-turn.
They really know what they're doing, and it was quite an experience to be in that car.
Here at the Secret Service Training Grounds Tactical Village, the scenarios are designed to look as realistic as possible, sometimes making use of sound effects and explosive devices worthy of Hollywood. This motorcade scenario was inspired by a real-life attempt against Chile's Augusto Pinochet. It's all part of the training process and the appropriations process.
The Secret Service comes and talks to us about funding that they need for new devices, new things around the White House, and it's important for us to see it.
The Secret Service will likely get more money this year in preparation for its expanded role in the 2000 presidential election. In Beltsville, Maryland, James Rosen, Fox News.
Publisher Steve Forbes taking another shot at the Republican presidential nomination.
Go! Go, Steve, go! Go, Steve, go!
Forbes officially announced his intentions for a 2000 bid. He did it today. He's again pushing that idea of a flat tax. He claims it would put more money in Americans' pockets. And Forbes is putting his ideas online, too. He made his formal announcement on the World Wide Web, saying the internet takes and gives people a real opportunity to get involved in democracy.
I think we can do better. I think it's time to give every American the freedom to participate in this new era of prosperity.
Forbes is the first candidate ever to launch a campaign over the internet.
North Texas congressmen may know how to maneuver on the House floor, but they don't seem to do quite as well on the ice. House Majority Leader Dick Armey fell on the ice while taking out the trash and broke his wrist. Just a few days earlier, Dallas Democrat Martin Frost slipped on an icy parking lot and fractured his ankle. Frost needed surgery and won't be able to put any weight on his foot for another 2 months. Armey has to have his wrist in a cast for a few weeks.
O.J. Simpson goes back in the celebrity pitchman business. See what he's endorsing coming up.
First, though, in sports, Daryl Johnson's agent talks to us about his client's future with the Cowboys.
And the Stars really run into a buzzsaw tonight in Pittsburgh. The Penguins kept firing away. Mike Ducey in Extra Sports.
Why are you still driving that old truck? It's always about money. So right now, your Chevy dealer makes it easy to afford a new car or truck with special low monthly payments. At only $197 a month with 0 down payment, you can afford a new S10. And since it is about money, your Chevy dealer is giving you the chance to win some, $25,000. So see your North Texas Chevy dealer now. Because right now, it is all about money.
Circuit City wants to be your appliance store.
We have a huge selection of top brands, all at guaranteed low prices. And we can arrange for delivery and installation, and we have expert repair service, too.
Circuit City's National Home Appliance Sale is going on now, and you'll pay no interest till March of 2000 on all appliances $3.99 and up, like this Magic Chef 18.6 cubic foot refrigerator with built-in ice maker, now just $488.99. Plug into the National Home Appliance Sale going on now at Circuit City.
The average car travels 12,000 miles a year. The average tires last 40,000 miles. The conclusion? Sooner or later, you're going to need a new set of wheels. Where do you go? I'm getting to that. A place with thousands of tires and the best brands rolling. People with diplomas in tireology and floors your grandmother could kiss. Oh, yeah, and they serve a great cup of joe. NTB, National Tire and Battery. We're everything you want, nothing like you'd expect.
What's your idea of the perfect minivan? Is it the most luxurious, one with a leather-trimmed and preferred suede interior? Or is it America's lowest-priced minivan that still includes features like easy-out roller seats and air conditioning? There's only one place to choose from the complete selection of award-winning minivans. Your Chrysler and Plymouth dealer. Now get $1,000 cash allowance or 1.9% APR on Chrysler and Plymouth minivans. Now buy any new Chrysler or Plymouth minivan, get a free in-vehicle TV and video cassette player.
Fox 4 Sports is sponsored in part by Chrysler Plymouth.
Some big news today from the NFL owners' meetings in Phoenix. Owners have voted to give Los Angeles the 32nd league franchise, but it comes with a catch. LA has to come up with a workable stadium plan in 6 months, or Houston gets the team. Also at the owners' meetings today, the agent for Daryl Johnston, Lee Steinberg, says in spite of what you're hearing, he thinks DJ will be back in a Cowboys uniform next season. And today, the owners make a decision on the future of the Thanksgiving Day games. New Orleans and Kansas City wanted to join in a rotation with Dallas and Detroit for the Turkey Day contest, but Commissioner Paul Tagliabue says,
There was very strong sentiment to keep the games in Dallas and Detroit. Obviously, a number of clubs feel like that could be a fine part of their tradition as well, but I think that there was very strong sentiment that the tradition should be maintained in Dallas and Detroit.
Hockey now, a tie with Philadelphia Sunday for the Stars, and tonight they complete a tough Pennsylvania swing, visiting the second-place team in the Atlantic, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Hull and Sador out with injuries tonight as they look on and see that Jaromir Jagr is not out with an injury. Advantage Pittsburgh. Looked that way early. Jagr scores his 33rd. It's 1-0 Pens. Later, watch Jagr draw the Stars toward him. 2, 3 stars. Gets the pass to Straka for a 2-0 Penguin lead. Stars come back, though. Sergei Zubov in the second period makes it 2-1. Then Grant Marshall loses his helmet but gets it to Tony Herkus for the game-tying goal. Pens had some chances to win it. Chambers saves the day there as Turek was out of position. Then in overtime, the Pens with an open net opportunity, and it goes wide. Stars survive with a 2-2 tie, and they play in Washington tomorrow. Some terrible news today for Texan Kerry Wood. Last year's National League Rookie of the Year will miss this season with a torn ligament in his pitching elbow. Wood says he'll get a second opinion medically, but it's likely that he'll need surgery and he'll be a spectator this year.
He's not only a great teammate, but he's a good friend of mine also, and you hate to see that happen. But I think it's probably what's going to be best for him in the long run, and probably for this organization in the long run. Get it taken care of now. Yeah, you missed the year, but hopefully he'll bounce back and have a long, lustrous career.
The Rangers win again today in spring training baseball, defeating the Pittsburgh Pirates 10-5. Greg Zahn gets just enough on this one to drive home a run. Pitching story for the Rangers today. Aaron Seeley, 3 innings, 1 earned run allowed, and it's a 10-5 Texas win. The Rangers have won 4 straight in exhibition play. TCU's basketball season lives on for another day. The Frogs host Oregon tomorrow night in round 3 of the NIT. A victory there sends them to New York for the semifinals. With Billy Tubbs and the Frogs, here's Max Morgan.
You know, beating Nebraska is kind of like beating Southern Cal. They're both great football programs. Well, that's the point.
Meaning the Cornhuskers were physical, but TCU outran them, and the Frogs were more athletic. And if the Frogs beat Oregon tomorrow night, they're in the NIT Final Four.
so I believe we can win it all.
I think we've been playing pretty good, and you know, a lot of guys have been stepping up that that haven't stepped up in the earlier season. So I think we're going on the road now to win 5 in a row.
We're thinking about going to New York, and I don't know. I mean, just stay like Prince says, step by step, and we're going to get there. I mean, if we don't, I know we fight the best we can.
And even though it's one loss and you're out, the Horned Frogs don't seem to be feeling any pressure.
I mean, this is the right time, I mean, for everyone to feel loose and feel good about themselves after a long year, which we had. And, you know, everyone was just building off one another, and everyone just having fun. Our practice has been good, and, you know, we just been enjoying ourselves.
Well, I'm not surprised that we're still having fun, and we're doing a couple of little things we probably should have been doing during the year, but that's easy to look back on.
In Fort Worth, Max Morgan, Fox 4 Sports.
Billy spices up the postseason, doesn't he?
Yeah, the football thing, I can't figure that as a crack or not.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of a, you know, a slap at their basketball programs. Hey, you're done playing them this year.
What's the Nebraska for a long time.
Right.
Thanks, Mike. Well, you've heard of bullfights where a man taunts a bull and then kills it. In South Korea, they take the word bullfight at face value. Take a look. Watch these bulls. They actually fight each other. Lock horns, the international bullfight competition. Brown bull is the best in South Korea. The black, the best from Japan. They shove each other all over until one of them gives up and runs away. See the brown one taking off? He loses. The Japanese bull, now the strongest bull in the world. And now you know.
How about that? The boot, the iron, the thimble. They're, of course, Monopoly game pieces, right? Well, now the game's maker, Hasbro, coming out with a brand new piece. Monopoly's main character, Mr. Moneybags, unveiled what else? A good old bag of money for the game's newest token. Monopoly's current maker decided to bring on the money bag after it won 500,000 votes, beating out a biplane and a piggy bank.
Remember O.J. Simpson as a commercial pitchman? Well, guess what? He's at it again. Back in the 70s, O.J. was hawking Hertz rental cars and among a lot of other things. This time he'll be urging people to call a 1-800 number for lawyer referrals. O.J.'s own attorneys were able to get him acquitted of murder, remember. Many say they'd do the exact opposite of what Simpson suggests, but some ad and legal experts say Simpson's commercials will likely appeal to those who thought he was framed.
Far North Dallas homeowners who said, "Not in my neighborhood," win a precedent-setting court victory. A fire apparently believed to be started by child's play kills a little Fort Worth girl. A woman locked inside her own car trunk survives a savage, bloody attack. We'll tell you where her accused attacker was caught. And maybe you've been seeing these signs while driving around town. Where did they come from? We know, and we'll tell you tonight at 10.
I've enjoyed those signs, actually, talking about what's coming up at 10. It's kind of
interesting. Had me guessing for a while where they were coming from. Big problem, underage drinking. Police, I don't know.
Another problem. Where would you least expect it? The town with zero tolerance. We'll tell you where coming up at 10.
Looking for